All right, so how this HVAC story came into place, or this job, was the guy. This is actually an interesting one. There's something interesting about this. If you once you hear the whole thing, is initially the guy messaged in just on a website chat. It was just a random web chat. Can you give a quote? And I came out here to give the quote. It's in a little bit of a rougher area. And a lot of times when I give quotes, sometimes I'm like, this is going to be a low budget job. But I always try to go in neutral, because if you go in thinking that you don't know what the person is or what they have or what they don't have. So I went in neutral, gave him the quote. The guy is actually an investor, and he's a good investor, right? So I had seen him before around town. But when I gave him the quote, he was more interested in the price. Now, the interesting thing about that is when somebody says they want the best price, that's really not true. A lot of times when we quote people and they say, well, you're a lot more expensive than the other person, our first thought is that we're going to lose that job. We're not going to win it unless we drop the price. It's not true. Even though people say it, yes, people want a good price, but there's three things that everybody wants. Price is one of them, okay? But the three things are: people want the best price, but people want the job done right, right? And people want the job done fast. They don't want to wait around for you. They don't want to take 10, 20 days off work because you're not showing up. So those three things, I know that everybody wants those three things, but you can only give people two of those three things. You can never give people all three. So the guy's asking for a good price, but I know he cares about the other two. So I'm going to take away one and I'm going to give him the other two. So I told this guy. He actually said to me, he said, well, you're a lot higher than everyone else. I said, I know. We're not the cheapest, but the reason we're not the cheapest is because we do the job right the first time. So you don't have to pay twice. Actually, paying someone to do the job twice is more expensive than paying someone a little bit more to do it once. So we come in, we do the job right. That's why we have over 800 five-star reviews. And the reason why I share that when I give quotes is if you give people value, they'll pay more money. And that's why all of you guys and all your friends have iPhones, most likely. They're more expensive than a flip phone, but they give more value. So that's proof people will pay more for more value. But if they don't know the value, they won't pay more. So I told him about, the value that we bring. And I said, another thing is we do the job fast. So he wants to put people in this house, in these houses. It's going to cost more money for him to have the houses sit empty because he's waiting on some contractor. So I offered him that I'll do the job right. I offered him that I'll do the job fast, but I can't do the job cheap. But I'm still giving him two out of the three things that he cares about. Every person cares about those three things, every person. So you can give them, if you don't give them a cheap price, but you can give them the other two out of three ain't bad for most people, right? And if there's someone that they don't care about the other two, they only care about prices, they're not your customer. Because what's the point? This is a big job, right? So this big job, if we're going to do it and be out here working, we're going to make money. We're going to provide for our family. We're going to provide for the families of the employees. So we're not just going to do cheapest price. So when someone says they only care about the cheapest price, they're not my customer, right? Like Apple's not going to give you a phone for $200. They're just going to say, hey, we have these cheap flip phones. You go buy one of those. You're not their customer. They're not going to drop their price. So anyway, so that's what we did here. And the best thing about it was the guy actually is a great investor. He wanted it done good. He wanted it done fast. And he actually trusts us to come out here and knock him out. You see, he's not out here, right? So that's the kind of value that we provided. And that's really the core of sales. That's what sales is about. So that's why we're able to do it. The only thing is, if we do it at the higher price, you cannot do it slow and you can't do a sorry job. Because if someone pays you more and you take forever, you're out of business. But if you can prove that, you're better. So that's what this was about here. So we're doing all three of them at the same time. We did all three, the initial rough-in in one day. And then now it's time for him to do the others. And he messaged me on Wednesday. So we did this job. This was the interesting thing I was going to tell you. When I was in Mexico on the missions trip, that's when this job got done. So I wasn't even here when the job got done or when the bid. That's the value of like systems and processes, where if I'm not available, but the employees and the staff knows how to accept the bid, how to order materials, how to do the job. So I wasn't even here. This was done when I was in Mexico. So that's the beautiful thing about it. But so they got it done, and he called me Wednesday. He said, hey, I'm ready for you to finish and put the outdoor units on. Do you think you can get it done this week? I said, I'll get it done tomorrow. He said, okay. He said, I trust you. And we came out, and that's the value. So he paid more, but in reality, he's paying less because he's going to get his tenants in here immediately, and it's going to be done right, and it's going to be done right the first time. So that's the story of these three. Every HVAC system, every job has a story, and that's the story on this one. So